Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Hey, yesterday was a perfect example of why they say in the game of baseball, you got to keep an even keel. You can't get too high and you can't get too low over the marathon of 6 months because, hey, Friday, a glorious day, you go 6-0 in the system, and then you beat the Yankees. You look really good doing it. You hit a whole lot of home runs. And then Saturday, you go 2-3 in the system. Thank goodness for Tulsa and Great Lakes, who, hey, by the way, congratulations to the Loons. They now have won 10 games in a row. Head on over to either Brad Tunney, his Twitter, which he keeps up with it. Brad Tunney is the play-by-play voice of the Great Lakes Loons, and or just go to the Great Lakes Loons Twitter, and they have a big old media notes, kind of a story article type thing that explains all the excellence coming out of the Loons and their 10-game win streak. The poor Beloit Sky Cart, boy, I think they've lost like 13 in a row. And in the crowd yesterday, it was a beautiful Saturday afternoon. They had like maybe 1,000 people there, and they're not winning. It was just kind of a depressing atmosphere to watch for Beloit, but hey, that's their problem. And the Great Lakes Loons, they just continue to win. So hey, Tulsa and Great Lakes Emmetsheehan had another really good performance last night. But hey, frustrating game at the major league level. There were some goods out of it. Anytime you need to address, and as far as dealing with negatives and talking about things that didn't go well, I've always liked to start with all the positives, then get to all the negatives, and then end with the positives as well, and then build on those positives to correct the negatives. So that's kind of how we're going to chunk out this show and format this show. Is we're going to talk about all the things that, hey, were positive in the system, all the things that went positive in yesterday's game. We're going to get to all the things that didn't go the way we wanted to, and then finish with a positive as well. So a lot to get to in today's show. Another busy day on Sunday as well. But before we get to all that, just a reminder, we do have a GoFundMe account now. Just scroll down to the description, click the link, and it'll take you right to the Dodgers Daily GoFundMe. And also, just like always, make sure and leave a comment, like this video. Let's get a great Dodgers discussion going. Although it was a day yesterday that the Dodgers did not win against the Yankees, hey, let's get some of our great discussion going like we always do. Make sure and like this video, share this video, tell all your friends about this video, and that way Dodgers Daily can keep getting suggested and keep growing, which is what we want to do because that allows us to keep providing videos like this in the future, which we love to do. Okay, again, 2-3 in the system. You always want the win at the top with Los Angeles. You didn't get it. It was kind of, almost like, not exactly a reverse, but, the Dodgers got the big lead Friday night, and then the Yankees got the 2-0 lead on the home run in the second inning yesterday. And it's amazing, even at the professional level, how many times teams that score first actually win the game. So we have a lot to get to. Let's not waste some more time, and let's talk some Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers are 35-24, and thank you, Atlanta Braves. They beat the D-backs last night, and that keeps the Dodgers tied in first place of the NL West. Again, 11 games over 500. The Dodgers have been very good at home. They dropped to 20-9 at home, just 500 on the road at 15-15. But hey, a good home team. And then again tonight, Sunday Night Baseball, Bobby big time takes the mound for the Dodgers in the rubber game of the iconic series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. Okay, so let's start with some of the good yesterday. I really thought michaelgrove for the most part. Now, don't get me wrong, the major leagues, it's a results-based business. Either you produce results or you don't, okay? But having said that, hey, there's also a process that gets you to those results if you obsess over results. I actually talked to Gavin Lux about this, that, hey, a couple of years ago when he was struggling a little bit, he said, I just got obsessed over results. I would barrel up a couple of baseballs, and although it was hit right at somebody, it would frustrate me, and I just kind of obsessed myself into failure. So you can't just obsess over results. All you can do, once you hit a baseball, once it comes off your bat, you can't control where the ball goes. Hey, as a pitcher, once you release the ball, if you make a good pitch and the guy just beats you, hey, power to him. And, over the course of, say 5 innings, 70, 80, 90 pitches, sometimes 100 up to 120, there's going to be 1 or 2 pitches and or a handful of pitches that don't come out of your hand exactly the way that you want them to, and you hope you get away with them. Okay, simply put, Michael Grove, he didn't make very many bad pitches yesterday. Okay, he actually pitched very well. The ball came out of his hand very well. He threw 98, or he touched 98, okay, which is an uptick in his velo. His slider was very good. I'll get to that here in a minute. And like we mentioned yesterday in the comments, I know Mitch mentioned that, hey, going to have to pitch backwards a little bit. I thought the Dodgers did a very good job of that, and he was able to use his curveball and fastball counts and get a lot of either takes for strikes and or swings and misses. So, hey, there was a lot of good to what Michael Grove did yesterday, right? Okay, he had a bunch of strikeouts, he had a bunch of swing and miss, and also he made a bunch of really good pitches in big moments, you know. Okay, he made two mistakes, you know, at least two mistakes that we can remember. I haven't actually analyzed it far enough to say, hey, did he actually get away with, you know, 3 or 4, maybe 5 more mistakes as well? Okay, but we do know, you know, the obvious 2 mistakes on the 2 home runs, but hey, that's kind of what the Yankees do, man. They just kind of lay in the weeds and then they just strike, and that's, you know, they did that twice, and it looked, you know, the first inning, Michael Grove got through it. He got some momentum. It looked like, you know, James Outman, the play in the second inning, that kind of, you know, set the bad momentum for that inning where he ran up on the ball. And really, James, you know, it wasn't a good play by him, but, you know, hey, he grew up with Michael Grove, playing with Michael, and he's, you know, he's trying to give, you know, extra effort. And we saw him make a diving catch later in the game. He's trying to do something special to help his buddy right there. That's called pressing. Okay, what James Outman did on that play, that's called pressing and trying to do too much, and he ran up on the ball. The ball did have some backspin or some weird side spin on it and spun away from him. But hey, you know, if he's comfortable right there and he just says, hey, that's my buddy Michael Grove, no big deal, give up a base hit, okay, and we go to work from there. You play that ball in front of you, even with the side spin, if he plays it properly, the ball doesn't get by him. So you have the runner at third, you know, and that just kind of set a bad tone, and then you give up the home run. So Michael Grove gave up the 2 home runs yesterday. So the good, okay, man, hey, the slider. I talked to Michael Grove in the offseason, you know, and well, right before the season was getting ready to start. And the one thing that he said that he really focused on in the offseason, he needed a put-away pitch. Okay, and he felt like, you know, he kind of revamped his slider to make it a little bit tighter. He's always had that big looping curveball. That's always been, you know, his number one secondary, and he's always going to have it. We saw that yesterday, and it can get up to upwards to 50, 60 inches of vertical break. Okay, but the problem with that curveball, although it breaks a lot, I talked about this yesterday with Clayton Kershaw, although it breaks a lot, okay, it's going to have to start way up here to a hitter. Okay, so the problem with that is, as this starts way up here to a hitter and then drops into the zone, there's no other pitch you can tunnel off that. So you can't make your curveball look like any other pitch. That's why the slider is the pitch that has been, you know, so effective for so many guys, including Clayton Kershaw, is because you can start that slider in the exact same location, in the exact same spot as your fastball, and the longer that it stays in that spot, we talked about this yesterday, before it actually starts turning left or right, whichever side you throw with, you know, that becomes more deceptive to a hitter. So Grove needed a pitch that could tunnel better off of his fastball to get more swing and miss, because he needed something to look like a fastball because he doesn't have a changeup. He needed something to look like a fastball for a long period of time, get a hitter to commit to fastball timing, to fastball break in location, and then have it turn left for him. He did that. His slider looked very, very good yesterday. Matter of fact, his slider looked yesterday as confident and as good as I have seen it. Okay, his fastball touched 98. I told you the other day his velo has seen an uptick. Okay, and this is a young man that's always had those velo capabilities. So this is not something that just is coming out of nowhere. This is why Michael Grove was put on the 40-man. It was because of potential. It was because of the fact that he can be a guy that touches 98 with a big curveball and a good tight breaking slider that we've seen. And he is a great athlete, an absolutely great athlete. He was a running back in high school. I have video actually on my social medias of him playing running back at Wheeling Park High School in Wheeling, West Virginia, kind of a Friday night lights type of town. So that's why Michael Grove was put on the 40-man. That's why he's getting these opportunities. And there was a lot of good yesterday. okay, as far as what he did, and a lot to build off of. Okay, so that's most of the good. And then also the Dodgers, they were scrappy. I told you, hey, the one thing I think, it seems like it's a whack-a-mole type team where, one day this is good, the next day that's good, the next day this is bad, the next day that's kind of bad. That's kind of how this team has been. Okay, but the one thing that I have felt like this team can hang its hat on is that it's gritty. It keeps fighting, and we saw yesterday in the 7th inning, hey, you were one swing away. You had the tying run to the plate with no outs in the 7th inning, and then you hit 2 balls really hard. But like I said, once you hit the ball, once it comes off your bat, you can't control what happens to it. If you hit a ball right at a guy, tough luck. Freeman did that. Mookie Betts did that. So you ran into a little bit of tough luck there. But Positives, you were gritty. You fought back. You didn't just give in and say, hey, we have a rookie on the mound, Garrett Cole's on the mound, and just go get your ass kicked, kind of like the Yankees did the night before. You didn't do that. You fought back. You scratched. You really felt like hey, you kept yourself in the game, and the way the Dodgers slug, you were just one swing away, and kind of felt like that maybe that'll come. And then when the Yankees hit the home run in the 9th, you kind of felt like that put the nail in the coffin. But I did feel like the Dodgers were scrappy yesterday. Good to see Miguelvargas get the triple to get the RBI and to get the Dodgers back on the board, get some momentum. Miguelrojas, a good base hit up the middle. Hey, like I've said a couple times, if Rojas, it seems like he's clutch. He does have kind of a clutch gene. He doesn't get a whole lot of hits, but it seems like the ones he gets are clutch, and I think that's because of the leadership type mentality that he has. He feels like he needs to produce in those situations for his team. And I've said a couple times, if Rojas just isn't terrible offensively, if he's just okay offensively, then he gives a plus contribution to this team because he's so good defensively and all the external factors as far as the leadership goes, he's very good at. So, good to see Miguelrojas produce offensively, Miguelvargas get the RBI triple, and the Dodgers continue, like I said, to scratch and claw and fight and grit. So I think that's the one thing the Dodgers can hang their hat on. This has been a gritty team, a team that digs in and fights every night out. And so for that factor, hey, I think that's good. Get your starting rotation healthy, figure out what you want to do at the bullpen. You had another one of those days yesterday with the bullpen. Like, I don't know what to say, man. Hey, you give up a couple home runs with the bullpen. I can't tell if it's good. I can't tell if it's bad. I couldn't tell you what to do with it. And, hey, Shelbymiller gives up a home run, who's been really good this year. Victorgonzalez gives up a home run, who's been really good this year. And then alexvesia, who has struggled, he comes in and throws up a 0. And then you have a brand new guy in Tayler Scott, who, hey, by the way, if you've been following Dodgers Daily, you should know all about Tayler Scott because I have covered him out of South Africa, the South African who has been just lights out at Oklahoma City. As a matter of fact, he's only given up runs in AAA Oklahoma City in 3 of his 18 outings this year. And I've talked about Tayler Scott several different times, how he has that 3/4 slot, kind of like Ryan Sublette, but yet he's able to stay behind the ball. So because of the 3/4 slot, he gets that good cut to that left turn, to his slider, and a little bit of cut on his fastball. But yet because he stays behind the ball, he can still ride a four-seam and go north with the four-seam and go south, with the changeup. So Tayler Scott has a really good mix going right now. He's unique enough to give the other team struggles, and we saw that at the major league level in his multiple inning performance. He looked very good. He looked comfortable, and he did all the things that he had been doing at AAA Oklahoma City. And like I said, if you follow Dodgers Daily, you should have known all about Tayler Scott because I have covered him on many, many, many different occasions. So, hey, again, the bullpen, another one of those. Boy, I mean, it's a quandary. It's like two guys that have been really good this year give up the home runs, and then you have basically a guy making his 2023 debut, and then alexvesia, who struggled his last time out. Those are the two guys that pitch well. So it leaves you just with more questions than it does answers. So the bullpen is just absolutely a fascinating situation for the Dodgers this year to follow. So, one of those deals, like I said the other day, I have no answers for you there. I couldn't tell you what to do. I couldn't tell you what the solution was. All I can tell you is you have some pretty smart people in the front office and what I call the war room that get together in that collaborative effort, and they figure things out, and they are on it, and I promise you, they're pulling their hairs out too, trying to figure this out as well. Okay, so the Dodgers, they have the Yankees tonight on Sunday Night Baseball. The D-backs, they have the Braves again. Go Bravos, man. We need, hey, you've got the Reds next, and then the problem is the D-backs have the Phillies, they have the Nats. The D-backs have the Nats. So, hey, this next 4-game stretch, if you don't play well, you're going to find your place. You're going to find yourself in second place. And it starts with tonight's game. Bobby Big Time needs to give the Dodgers a good start. The Dodgers need to get out to a lead. They need to hit the baseball, and they need to, score in more than 1 or 2 innings. And they need to win tonight's game, point blank. They need to win tonight's game. The D-backs need to lose. You need to go into your next series at the Reds. You need to go into that series with a 1-game lead, and you need to win at least 2 out of 3 there. And you need to leave there with a 1-game lead or maybe a 2-game lead so you can get back into the part of your schedule that's advantageous for you. So let me go through this. You're at the Reds and you're at the Phillies, okay? So if you can get to the next 2 series on the road, all right, with still a lead, just a 1-game lead, you come back home against the White Sox for 3 games. You go to San Francisco, which will be huge, okay? And then you're at the Angels, then you have the Astros, then you have the Rockies and Royals. So there is I've said this a couple times, this is a stretch right here to where if you can tread water in your series that it looks like the Diamondbacks might be able to make some movement up in the standings. If you can tread water in those series and then make your hay in the series that you're supposed to, this is a part of the season where I think the Dodgers have a chance to create at least a little bit of separation, which I think the Dodgers need because I think the Arizona Diamondbacks are a bad matchup for LA because they run. And, Reno, their AAA team, has been in Oklahoma City this weekend. I can tell you this, that Reno team at the AAA level, they are scrappy, man. They just hit every single inning. And, hey, no team this year, just go and look at Oklahoma City, what they've done. Oklahoma City has been one of the best teams in the minor leagues. They just keep winning. The pitching, the bullpen. Matter of fact, Travis Barbie in our interview mentioned this the other day, has been just ridiculous. The one team that has been able to hit this Oklahoma City pitching staff has been Reno, and I've gotten a chance to see them 3 different times with my own eyes. I've gotten a chance to watch them take their early ground balls, their early batting practice, and hey, this is an organization that's on the rise. This isn't just a fluke where they had a couple of good players that happened to end up at this is an organization, and then going back to, the AA level as well, and Amarillo, the Sod Poodles there. I've been out there to Hodgetown and Amarillo, and hey, this is an organization that's not going to go away, in my opinion. This is an organization that Dodgers have to deal with. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to claim dominance. Keep your dominance over them. Make them not have any light at the end of the tunnel. Step on them and get some separation, because I don't think the Diamondbacks are going anywhere, at the very least. Let me make it this way. And this was one of the comments the other day that was just such a fantastic thought. Okay, at the very least, the Dodgers can't, sometimes you just play a game, like a football team. They'll just run inside zone the whole time, and they'll just hope for the other team to lose the game for them. That's not what the Dodgers can do with you can't assume that Arizona is going to fall apart and just give you the division. I think you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to, you're going to have to run a reverse. You're going to have to throw the ball. You're going to have to be diverse offensively. I use that analogy to say you're going to have to go out and beat the Diamondbacks in this NL West. I don't think they're going to fall apart. I don't think they're just going to run into shambles, turn into shambles, and just hand over the NL West to the Dodgers. So I think this is a situation to where LA just has to continue to stay on their toes. They have to play every day with a sense of urgency, and they have to basically, they have to play well. And I think that's a good thing. I've mentioned this in the podcast in the past that, hey, I think iron sharpens iron, and, that's going to keep the front office in win now urgency mode, which, I think sometimes they get a little bit too big picturist, and I think that's going to keep Dave Roberts in big picture win now mode, which, hey, sometimes I think because the front office and because the collaborative effort gets too big picturist, I think sometimes he gets that way as well. Okay, so I think it's going to keep everybody in win now mode with a sense of urgency, and I think that's going to allow iron to sharpen iron, and I think that's going to be a good thing for the Dodgers. Okay, so that's the positive. positive, you none right there. So, hey, positive, negative, positive. That's always how I like to address, failure, which anytime you lose, that is a failure. And like I said, Michael Grove, hey, major leagues, it is a results-based business. Okay, pitched very well. Bottom line is you give up 4 runs, you don't win the game. Okay, and that's not, ever the result that you're looking for. So, hey, although there is a lot to build off of, a lot of positives, okay, bottom line is you're still not where you want to be. And it'll be interesting to see how many opportunities he gets in the future. I think he definitely earned another start or two because I felt like, hey, he threw the ball really well. And there were times where he was real, real good. And touching 98, hey, a lot to work with. So, okay, that's our Los Angeles Dodgers talk for today. Again, minor league system, there was a lot of action. Oklahoma City lost. And then in the middle, AA Tulsa and Great Lakes, they won their games. Great Lakes, again, the 10-game win streak. And then Rancho Cucamonga, after having a huge offensive day, there's some huge offensive days lately, they struggled to play offense last night and lost to Inland Empire. So let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it. And let's take a trip down the farm. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers, it took them a while to get going, and they did not score until the 6th inning. They were down 3-0 going into the bottom of 6, and they hung a 6 spot on Reno, the AAA affiliates of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Okay, so they took a 6-3 lead. You're seeing Devinmann right here actually tied the game, and this actually made it 3-3 at the time. Jahmaijones then hit a home run to give the Oklahoma City Dodgers a 6-3 lead at the time, but lo and behold, just an inning later in the top of the 8th inning, Reno returned the favor and hung a 6 spot on the Oklahoma City Dodgers as well to give Reno the win 9-6, and it was in front of a big crowd of almost 8,500 people. 8,499 people watched last night in downtown Oklahoma City. It was Saturday night in the big town last night in AAA Oklahoma City, AAA OKC, and hey, it was an exciting game. It was a lot of fun. People were entertained, but the bad news is that AAA Oklahoma City, they dropped the decision 9-6 to move to 40-16 on the season offensively. Luke Williams had a couple of hits and an RBI. Devinmann had this RBI base hit to tie the game. Justin Yurchek also had a hit in that big 6-run 6th inning, and he helped that rally continue to go on. Jahmaijones had 2 hits, including a big home run and a couple of ribeye steaks. And then Bryson Brigman, interesting Tuesday night in Wichita, got a chance to talk to him. He was with AA Tulsa, and he got moved up literally the next day. So Tuesday, he was with Wichita, and then Wednesday, he was with AAA Oklahoma, he was in Wichita with AA Tulsa, and then Wednesday, Bryson Brigman was with AAA Oklahoma City. So, hey, this Oklahoma City team, they have been just absolutely amazing to watch. They've won a million different games. At the end of games, again, their record is 40-16, and it seems like out of those 40 wins, probably 30 of them, they've been behind in the 6th, 7th, or 8th innings. And if you check statistics as far as how many times major league teams win or lose when they're trailing going into, say, the 8th or 9th inning, it's pretty overwhelming. As far as if you're losing, you lose. If you're winning, you win. So, hey, what this AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers team has done in terms of winning so much late in games has been just absolutely phenomenal. Travis, their manager, Travis Barber, actually mentioned that in the interview, and he's like, I don't even know how we've won some of these games that we've played in because it's been absolutely phenomenal. And so, hey, Devinmann, he extended his hit streak to 8 games. Devinmann's on-base streak is 23. So, again, I've said it many different times, Devinmann quietly having a very good season for AAA Oklahoma City. I tell you one thing, when Jahmaijones gets hot, boy, he gets really hot. He started the season, if you remember, he came over to the Dodgers in the offseason, and he started the season 8 for 13 with 3 home runs and 2 walk-offs. Okay, and last night his 2 hits made his 4th multi-hit game in his last 9, so he's hot again, and he has an 11-game hit streak, and Jahmaijones is hitting .297, OPS 921. Look at this flat swing, flat hands right there, and then towards the end, kind of like we talked about yesterday, that airplane takes off at the front of your swing. That's right where you want to hit it. That's right where you hit that baseball. That gives you the most amount of leverage, the most amount of time in the zone. Then it also gives you that perfect launch angle off the bat. You get the best of all worlds. You saw it all come together right there for Jahmaijones. On the pitching side, obviously, the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers gave up 9 runs. Hey, Gavin Stone, he started. He went 4 1/3 innings. A little bit of rough outing for him. He gave up 3 runs. He had 6 walks and 6 strikeouts. So, hey, the command is still an issue with Gavin Stone, but that's why he's very talented, and that's why he's back down in AAA Oklahoma City to find that command. Again, we saw it with alexvesia. His first performance down in AAA Oklahoma City was rough, and he went on a long streak. I expect Gavin Stone to do the same thing. So, hey, he fought and he scratched and he clawed and he was gritty, and he got through 4 1/3 innings, giving up only 3 runs, with the 6 walks, and then also 5 hits. So Gavin Stone still working through some things, still not quite there, still needs some time at AAA Oklahoma City to refine, his skills and refine his mix and to gain command of all of it. Again, who you're seeing right here is Mark Washington. Hey, this guy right here has been absolutely nails. The other night, right before, I believe it was Tuesday, Matt Andrees came up and could not pitch, okay? So like 11 minutes before game time, the Oklahoma City Dodgers realized they don't have a starting pitcher for that night, so they literally had to start the game with a bullpen game. Travis went to Mark, and Mark Washington told him, hey, our starter just went down. I need you to extend. And Mark was like, hey, no problem. One great thing about Mark Washington, Nick Robertson, some of these AAA relievers, is that they can be openers and go 3, 4, maybe even 5 innings, if the pitch count is right that night. So Mark took the baseball. He went 3 innings. He got that bullpen game off to a great start. The Oklahoma City Dodgers won the game. And then last night, again, Mark Washington went 2 1/3. So in his last 2 outings, Mark Washington has thrown 5 1/3 innings, and he has gone scoreless in both of them. Last night, he had 3 strikeouts to just 1 walk. So, hey, Mark Washington, the young man out of Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, and then he went to Lehigh. Just a wonderful young man. He works very hard in the offseason, both at his craft and at I can't remember exactly the name. If you go and watch it on an MLB, hey, things that you do in the off season, he mentioned it to me, and I can't ever remember the name, but he has a really cool job in the off season where he has to make just enough money to survive. So, hey, Mark Washington, I am a big fan of him. I root for him to have success every time he takes the mound, and he is very talented. And at 6'7", that ball comes downhill pretty good. He gets pretty good extension. So, hey, Mark Washington, great job, young man. Tulsa opened up a can yesterday on Wichita in downtown Wichita, Kansas at Riverfront Stadium. I've been to, well, that's where I enter actually, there behind that right center field fence, right there at their team store. What a beautiful facility that is. They built it a couple years ago. Hey, they used to be the Wichita Wranglers, and they used to be a AA affiliate of the Kansas City Royals back in the day, like the 90s, early 2000s, and in Wichita they used to play at a facility called Lawrence Dumont Stadium. Been there many different times. Okay, whether playing, a summer tournament or just going and watching a game, that is a beautiful facility. You park right there, just straight ahead and to the left, just a touch, and then you go in. That's actually the ticket booth behind that gate, and that's the team store and all that kind of good stuff there at Wichita. Okay, so they tore down that Lawrence Dumont facility about 5 years ago, and then they rebuilt this new facility, Riverfront Stadium, right in the literally exact same location that they built Lawrence Dumont. As a matter of fact, if you put it in your navigation, Lawrence Dumont Stadium and Riverfront Stadium, they will give you the exact same directions, and it'll actually tell you, hey, they're maybe 50 feet away from each other. So, hey, cool little story about that. Okay, Tulsa, they opened up a can yesterday. They won 8-1, and kind of like the LA Dodgers on Friday night, they did not waste any time yesterday. They scored 5 in the first, and that was really going to be all they needed all day because Emmetsheehan was awesome again. They scored 1 in the third and 2 in the sixth. You're seeing Imanolvargas right here, who just went absolute big fly. I mentioned the other day when he hits it, I'm telling you, I've seen it live. And, well, listen to that sound. Did you hear that sound? Okay, his ball has carry to it. He hits the ball very, very hard. I'll be interested whenever, he gets up to AAA and you actually can see the StatCast data, just exactly how high his exit velocities are, because he hits the ball hard. It sounds different. it looks different. Austingauthier, hey, he had his first multi-hit day yesterday in Double-A. Jorbitvivas had another multi-hit day. Imanolvargas had 2 hits as well that you're seeing right here. And then Jose Ramos, Eddie's Leonard, Diego Cartaya went 1 for 5. Eugenio Diaz went 1 for 3, and Josh Stowers had a hit as well. But Imanolvargas, this was a grand slam for Double-A Tulsa. He has hits in 5 of his last 6 games, and he's 6 for his last 15 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 19 total bases. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it, that Imanolvargas is undoubtedly the most underrated offensive player in the Dodgers system. Emmetsheehan, what more can you say about him? Okay, he turned in another overpowering performance, no doubt about it. He went 5 1/3 innings. He had 7 Ks, just 1 walk. He has just been a strikeout machine. I said it really early this year. Look at that 4-seam fastball. I said it early this year. I took a little bit of flack from it. I don't care. I will stick to my guns. He has maybe the most explosive fastball of anybody in the system. When you combine the fact that he has that kind of 3/4 slot, so he gets that ride and run to it from the 3/4 slot, and then when you also, the extension he gets, and he gets down the mound, it's like he's just handing it to the catcher. Combining that with the velo, he's touched 99. Hasn't seen the 0 yet. The young man out of New York City and Boston College. And hey, whenever I wrote his article, it was the name to it was headed to 100. Okay, because I think here before too long, it's inevitable. He is going to hit that 0 and see triple digits on the radar gun. So when you combine the extension with the 3/4 slot that gives him run to that fastball, with also the incredible velo, one of the most explosive fastballs in the entire organization, if not the most explosive fastball. Sheehan and his strikeout numbers would absolutely back that up. He now has 76 strikeouts in 44 innings, and he has his ERA down to 164. So he's not just a guy that's just throwing the crap out of the ball, man. He's also a guy that can pitch. He's also a guy that is in the strike zone, and he's a guy that, does a lot more than just throwing a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. That's very explosive. His ERA would suggest that. It's down to 164. His whip is down to 080, and he is absolutely dominating the Texas League. Emmetsheehan. So you're in the Wichita dugout or the opponent's dugout, and you're going, oh, good, they're taking out Emmetsheehan. He has 7 strikeouts or 9 strikeouts or 15 strikeouts, whatever performance you might want to list of Emmetsheehan. Okay, so you're going, okay, good, he's taking him out. We're going to get a little bit of a break. Guess who they bring in? Jakepilarski, who's hit as high as 102. And by the way, he is another guy. I mentioned it with Sheehan. Not just a fastball, man. His slider is very, very good. So you go from Emmetsheehan to Jakepilarski, just more gas and more heat. Look at that 4-seam up the zone. You've already seen his slider. Pilarski, he threw 1 2/3 innings, scoreless yesterday for Double-A Tulsa. His ERA is down to 1.37. Look at that good 4-seam up in the zone. That was not a strike, but again, the velo is just unbelievable for Jakepilarski. There's that good slider. So like I said, he's not just a fastball. He has that good slider as well. Look at the depth on that pitch right there. Okay, his average against just 169. And when you can throw that changeup, do you see that changeup right there? You've seen the 2 sliders, and you can hit as high as 101, 102. There's Jose Ramos making that play look easy. Okay, that's why Jakepilarski, the Dodgers are so high on him. Congratulations, Austingauthier. He had his first multi-hit game in Double-A. He has hits in 3 games in a row. In 8 out of his last 9, he's hitting .347, OPS .999. Hey, I don't usually like to have the scoop, but I did get some very, very accurate information, very reliable information. The day before, I believe it was on Saturday evening or Sunday evening, the Dodgers told him that he was moving to Double-A. I got it from a source that was surefire, 100% guaranteed. And so I went ahead and ran. Hey, he got promoted up to Double-A, and lo and behold, show up to Wichita on Tuesday. There he was. Got a chance to talk to Austingauthier. Got a chance to congratulate him on his promotion to Double-A. So super excited to see him get his first multi-hit game in Double-A, the young man out of Hofstra, who goes the other way. I mentioned to him, you can see right there, watch him pull it. Even though he pulls this ball, he still pulls his hands inside the ball so well. Talked to him just a minute. He said, yeah, that's my game, man, staying up the middle, staying oppo, staying the other way with the baseball. That's my game, and I congratulated on him. Hey, in professional ball, you see all these dudes take BP hitting 500-foot home runs, and it's tempting to want to be like that too. Hey, that's not Austingauthier's game. His game's right there. Hit hard low-line drives, hard ground balls, hit the ball the other way. Austingauthier does as good of a job as anybody in the game of baseball of just being the best version of himself. Not trying to be, like the big thumper type guys like an Andy Pages that can hit the ball a million miles. Not trying to be that guy. Just trying to be the best version of what Austingauthier is, and that's a guy that hits the ball hard low-line drives, hard ground balls, hits the ball the other way, and because of that, he is very, very good. Jorbitvivas had another multi-hit night for Double-A Tulsa, which is his second multi-hit game in a row, third in his last 5, and 15th of the year. Vivas, man, powerful swing. Watch this. Kapow, look at that. The bat speed, the violence behind that swing. But yet, hey, he's under control enough to where he can actually hit breaking pitches like you saw right here. He can stay back on a breaking pitch and still hit it. So, hey, how hard should you swing? I had a professional teach me this when I was young in age, and I always lived by this. Say, hey, how hard should I swing? Okay, well, that's different for every player. Some players can swing harder than others, and the way that it was put to me, swing as hard as you can until your head jerks. Okay, when your head jerks, you'll kind of get dizzy and you'll kind of, oh, wow. You'll feel it when your head jerks, but until you feel your head jerk, keep swinging harder. Swing as hard as you can until your head jerks, because if your head's not jerking, then your eyes are going to stay still and you can still see the ball. So, hey, right here, watch Jorbitvivas. Next time, this runs through here, watch his head. He's very violent. He swings just about as hard as he can, but watch his head. His eyes never move. His head doesn't jerk. So he's one of those guys that can swing harder but still stay under control, which is one of the reasons why the Dodgers are so high on him, because he has that ability to have a little bit extra bat speed but still not get out of control with it. Okay, this is his second multi-hit game in a row, third in his last 5, and 15th of the year. Jorbitvivas is hitting .292, OPS .857. The hapless Beloit Skycarps. Look at their crowd. Not very many people there. It was quite possibly one of the least electric atmospheres, especially for a Saturday afternoon, that I have ever seen in a professional game. Their players, you can read it all over their faces. They are very frustrated. I think they've lost. Look, there's nobody there, and it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I think they've lost 13 in a row, and a large part of that is because the Great Lakes Loons have been in town this week and have won the first 5 games of this series with Beloit, and it did not take them long to claim dominance. Hey, whenever you're not winning games, the last thing you want to do is give up a 6 spot in the top of the first inning and be losing by 6 runs before you ever hit. That's exactly what happened to Beloit last night. Great Lakes, they took a team, look at the stands there. Great Lakes, they took a team that has been mightily struggling, and they gave them absolutely no hope. So by the time Maddox Bruns, that you're seeing right here, took the mound, he had a 6-run lead. The Great Lakes Loons ended up scoring 4 more after that. 1 in the third, 1 in the eighth, 2 in the ninth, to end up with 10 runs on the afternoon. Maddox Bruns was really, really good again. He went 3 innings. He had 7 Ks. We talk about all the stuff with Maddox Bruns, how explosive it is. Look how that slider right there, good break to it. His fastball has good life. He has a good mix. It's all about throwing strikes for him. Look how he comes in on the hands of a right-hander right there. Okay, but he's been doing a great job of all that. You saw the back foot slider a minute ago. There's the back door slider for Maddox Bruns. And then there is the 4-seam up in the zone. Very explosive stuff. 7 Ks again yesterday for Maddox Bruns in 3 innings. We'll get into him a little bit more here in just a second. Christian Suarez threw a scoreless inning. And then Orlando Ortiz Mayer, he was the piggyback guy. Hey, not piggyback right after the starter, but he was the bulk inning guy. Orlando Ortiz went 5 innings, did not give up a run, only 4 hits, and had 4 Ks and no strikeouts. One thing I like about Orlando Ortiz Mayer, and we're going to talk about him here in just a minute, but hey, he makes the other team beat him, okay? And a lot of times, even at the professional level, I know that sounds kind of amateur. It's just, hey, make the other team beat you, that kind of thing, because you need to make really, really good pitches like that one right there. But, you know, a lot of times, hey, you play the odds. You know, a great hitter is going to fail 7 out of 10 times. Just don't give the other team freebies, you know. Just stay away from the freebies, make them beat you, and a lot of times they won't. Okay, Maddox Bruns had a great outing. We talked about his 3 scoreless 7 Ks. This is the 3rd straight start for Maddox Bruns that he hasn't allowed a run. That encompasses 11 innings, and he has 18 Ks during that 11 innings and 3rd straight start. And his ERA, Maddox Bruns, is down to 1.96. The young man, highly talented left-hander out of Mobile, Alabama. Okay, he is having a really, really good year. Talked many different times about the embarrassment of riches as far as the catching depth in the organization. One guy I have not talked about at all this year, and honestly, I haven't seen him play very much at all. Matter of fact, yesterday was one of the first times I've seen Frank Rodriguez play at all, okay? He had his first home run of the season yesterday right there. Boom. Cup out over the left field wall and gone for his first home run of the year. He has 2 hits and 2 RBI. So, hey, another catching prospect in the Dodgers organization, Frank Rodriguez. Mentioned that Christian Suarez threw a clean inning yesterday, and he has gone scoreless in 7 of his last 10 outings. That slider, you know, Suarez, it's always about throwing strikes with him because that back foot slider right here, well, that's a four-seam there, but he has that back foot slider, then he can throw it to the back door every now and then. But, hey, it's all about the slider right there. And throwing strikes for Christian Suarez, when he's throwing strikes, he's very good, especially when he's able to throw strikes like that one with his slider. So the four-seam slider mix was very good for Christian Suarez. He went clean yesterday, and he has gone scoreless in 7 of his last 10. Here's a good look at Orlando Ortiz, and like I mentioned, hey, just kind of smooth, just kind of, you know, hits his spots, hits his location, and just makes the other team beat him, okay? He was lights out yesterday for Great Lakes right there. Look at the dive and the tumble on that changeup. That's a really good pitch. After, and there's a little slider there. So you've seen his four-seam up, you've seen the tumble, the changeup, the slider, and then there's the slider with depth. That's a really good pitch right there for Orlando Ortiz. And by the way, there's another kind of arm side movement. It's kind of looking like a two-seam. So really what you've seen here, and I don't know exactly how he labels it, you've seen a four-seam with the ride factor up in the zone. You've seen the slider. There's another two-seam looking pitch. You've seen the four-seam, the four-seam, and the two-seam that turns right, and then you have the slider that turns left, and then you've seen the change-up that tumbles. So I don't know exactly how he labels his pitches. It's always tough to tell nowadays. I have not talked to him, but it looks like a 4-pitch mix to me, and if it's not at least labeled as a 4-pitch mix, it's giving a 4-pitch mix effect, and he's doing it all while staying in the strike zone, which is why he's able to go 5 scoreless like he did yesterday. 4 strikeouts, no walks. ERA down to 2.62 on the year, Orlando Ortiz. Alex Freeland had 3 hits for the Loons yesterday. He was on base 6 times, and he has hits in 11 of his last 12 games. And hey, check this out. Alex Freeland, the talented shortstop out of UCF, has raised his batting average 59 points since May 20th. Okay, this young man has gotten hot. He is very talented. I have warned you that this is hey, the Dodgers, one thing that they have drafted or signed a ton of shortstops. Sean McClain, Alex Freeland, at the high A, and then Sean McClain's been hurt all year. Then Rain Don Cone and guys like that. Actually, Tim Rogers and I did a show on the shortstop prospects, and there's a whole bunch of them right now. So, hey, a lot of young shortstop prospects coming up in the system. I think, when you get past Eddie Leonard, who I think is next in line, he's a very smooth player at AA Tulsa. The next batch of prospects, I think Alex Freeland is at the top of that list, and he's playing very well right now for High A Great Lakes. Yainer Fernandez had 2 hits yesterday for Great Lakes and 2 RBIs, and he's hitting .276, OPS .752, and he has 23 RBIs on the year. The young man who entered the top 30 prospects list for the Dodgers last year, a guy, you saw him pull the ball right there, but he is so good at shooting the ball the other way, kind of like Austingauthier, and just a really scrappy, really tough, and very talented player, Yainer Fernandez. The Rancho Cucamonga Quakes just couldn't get it going yesterday. All they could muster was 1 run on 6 hits. Okay, Raindon Cone went 1 for 4. Theron Lorenzo had a hit. He went 1 for 3. Jorge Puerta went 1 for 4. Puerta was playing first base yesterday. Lorenzo was catching, and Dayton Dooney was the hitter of the day. He had a couple of knocks and an RBI walk too. So he was on base 3 times yesterday, but only 1 run. Theron Lorenzo scored that run. Yohan Santana, he started with 3 innings, and he gave up just 1 run and had a strikeout on 2 walks and 4 hits. And then Jan Castro came in through an inning and 2/3. Okay, and he gave up no runs, so a good performance for Jan Castro. Calvin Ramirez came in as well, and Jonathan Edwards gave up a couple of runs in 2 innings pitched. So, hey, not the greatest of days yesterday for Rancho, but they are 32-18 on the season. They have had a very good season to this point. So, hey, looking to have a good day Sunday afternoon to finish off the 6-game series against Inland on a good note. So there you have it. There's my show for you today. I told you, hey, we were going to start with the positives. We're going to move to the things that might be construed as negatives and or things that didn't go the way that you would like for them to. Then we're going to end it on positives as well. That's the way I like to do things whenever you address, situations that aren't exactly to the standards that you would like. And anytime you lose and you don't win, okay, that's always the case at the major league level because, like I said, the major leagues, it is this is all about a results type business. And the Dodgers did not win yesterday, but hey, they still are in first place. And so a big game today. Bobby Big Time again takes the mound against the Dodgers on Sunday Night Baseball. Can't wait. All the affiliates are in action. So another busy day on Sunday in the system. So, hey, can't wait to cover it and do it all again. Baseball's like Groundhog Day. You wake up, you can just do it all again the next day, and one day runs into the next. So super excited about all of the action today. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and I hope you tune in to tomorrow's show as well. And also, just a reminder, the Dodgers Daily, we have a GoFundMe account now. Just scroll down into the description, click the link, and it'll take you to the GoFundMe for Dodgers Daily. Also, hey, the comments are just absolutely awesome on this site. Make sure and leave a comment. Tell all your friends to come over to Dodgers Daily, watch the videos. Tell them to comment on the videos. Make sure and like the video, share the video, and like I said, Dodgers Daily can keep growing. And make sure that hey, your friends know that you do it. Turn on your notifications. That way, every time Dodgers Daily release a new video, you'll be notified. And that way, you'll know when the new video is released. And Dodgers Daily will keep growing, and we'll keep doing what we love to do, which is providing video like this. And I hope, hey, we're going to bring back Dodgers Dogs, talk to Chase Whiska. He has some time now. Hopefully we get back more into the interactive live shows where we can interact with the audience and the fans and all you wonderful people out there that comment so much. I don't even like to call you fans because that almost sounds too derogatory. You're doing this with me. You guys are in this with me, and a lot of the comments ride, like the content and what comes out, and it's just fantastic. So, hey, going to get back into more of that, so super excited about that. Okay, hey, as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in and say go Dodgers. Hey, beat the Yankees today. Let's win this series. Let's go do it.